And we are live. This is Wrestling with Bros. I'm Big Baby Ben.
Judas Black, and we also have tonight rejoining us again today, last week in wrestling, Dylan Musso, and a very, very special guest tonight, Isaiah Moore. Isaiah, why don't you start off with telling us a little bit about yourself, man?
What's going on, guys? So I've been wrestling about 7-8 years now. I trained for a year with Joe Simpson, Tyler Matthews, and Steve Sterling out of South Bend and EHF. And
Nice.
hitting the road hard ever since, trying to get on any show and every show. Been fortunate enough to do some stints with AEW and love working with AAW Pro. So just kind of traveling all over the Midwest scene up, and yeah.
Were you on AEW Dark or Dark Evolution?
Both, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So your name does sound familiar to me. I was like, for some reason that name sounded familiar, but I didn't know if I was thinking of somebody else or you. And it was you. That's nice to know. Finally get to meet an actual celebrity here. You guys said, what the fuck you got me doing here? You got a schlub. You know, you got a true fucking all-star over here hanging out. Like, my God.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's really cool. You know, it's kind of a gamble. I shoot him a message and I'm like, hey, would you like to join us? And
we pray. And we pray for the best.
I know.
Okay, so yeah, I think we lost volume there for a minute. All right, so yeah, Dylan, if you want to start us off with the questions, man. You said you had a whole bunch of them, so
well, now I kind of know who you are after you said AEW. I did actually watch some of your work on Evolution and Dark as well, so I do know who you are now. Before I did not know who you were, and I was still guessing if you were that celebrity over on AEW. So it's nice to formally meet you and everything. Yeah, you know, of course, my biggest thing is I like to know what it really is for you, you know, on a creative side when it comes to working with the bigger named companies, you know, the WWEs, the AEWs, and everything. For when you stepped foot into AEW, I'm assuming you were approached by Tony, or was it more or less your guy knew a guy that knew Tony that kind of got you into that doorway?
That's more of like a Sean Dean thing. He's
okay.
That, but yeah, that's more of the process. Is I got a mess originally. That was the first time. The first time that I went, it was a message through Instagram,
right?
Mail, then let me go in there. So there's a little bit of a process, but
right, yeah, no, of course, yeah. Listen, working with AEW is always going to be a process. You know what I mean? So it's but it must have been very exciting and very fun. Now, when working with AEW, you know, as a wrestler itself, of course, like, you know, the emotions are overwhelming. You're working with, you know, a higher caliber of superstars. This is more like the, you know, almost AA to the AAA division of the professional sports entertainment. So when you kind of were getting your feet wet in that business for AEW, what was some of your initial like training? Were you working more on your own thing by yourself? Were you working more with others behind the stage, or was it straight to like, this is what we're going to do with you, just a couple of matches here and there? Like, what was the initial process when stepping into AEW?
They're very direct about what they want.
Okay, good.
It's a very easy process. I mean, it's not very hard. You know, you show up, they tell you what's going on, and you just prepare for it. They're very professional. You know, it's straightforward to the point. You're still having fun working with great guys. Communication with your coaches and everything is very open. So it's just a real easy process, to be honest. There's not a whole like brand or anything like that.
Interesting. Okay.
So I guess what I'd like to say is like, let's kind of you know, you've been in AEW and stuff, but let's kind of take it back a little bit. What made you want to actually get into the wrestling business?
So there's never really been a point in time that I've never not had wrestling in my life, if that makes sense. So my dad is and always has been an avid wrestling fan. You know, he watched old NWA, WCW, WCCW, etc. And that's So that's kind of how I grew up. But like, what made me want to be like this, I wanted was Stone Cold Austin.
Okay.
Yeah, 13. That was the one match that just that was like, oh my gosh. Like,
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
No,
that was.
absolutely. So I'm assuming you kind of grew up around the Attitude Era, or at least like the birth of that Attitude Era. So of course Austin, like you said, was your guy to guide you into this world that you're now in and everything. Did you ever take a step back to try to get into other characters that weren't as popular as that like starting 5 rotation that WWF offered? You know, the Kanes, the Undertakers, the Rocks, the Stone Colds, the Mankinds. Were you ever into like Ken Shamrock? Was Billy Gunn and Chuck Palumbo anybody you studied like when you started really doing this?
When I started really doing this, I stuck kind of towards the main, but at the same, loved guys like Ken Shamrock. I liked watching X-Pac, but more as 1, 2, 3 Kid.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
Okay. Yep.
So yeah, I loved like mid card guys, like especially in the Ruthless Aggression era, like cruiserweights. I loved Paul London, Brian Kendrick, Billy Kidman.
Yeah,
a lot of those guys, with their athleticism and just the creativity that they had, it was just off the charts. So that's something that I dug too, as well as the main 5. But yeah.
So what's your opinion of John Cena?
That's a big influence on me too.
Good.
I love his will to learn like that, and how he can be seen as such a leader. Because in wrestling, it's a dance, and you always have that coach or whatever that gets you through it, and he just is very good. You can just tell that like he's a general. You always hear it and watch all these podcasts and stuff about how he's calling a match, or just the way that he listens to the crowd and things like that. It's just really taken from that.
Okay. Big Baby?
Revolution Championship Wrestling. You have a match coming up, a triple threat for the title?
Yeah, for Jake Christ and AVZ. I believe it's for the Revolver Heavy Championship. Christ is defending it.
Nice.
That's the one not to miss. I'm excited.
Absolutely.
Is there any way to view that over the internet?
That I'm not too sure of. I believe they just do tickets at the door.
Okay.
So what school did you originally train out of?
It's EHF. They were running out of South Bend, and that was with Joe Simpson, Tyler Matthews, Sterling. Is about 2015.
Okay, I thought you'd said that, but I couldn't remember. Okay. So his I had a question on my head, and I literally just fucking went out of my head. When becoming a wrestler, what kind of things would you say kind of influence you to do better in the ring? Like things that you can train to do to make yourself perform better within the ring itself?
Learning to go to the gym. That was probably like my biggest thing, because like growing up, I was always a toothpick skinny kid. Never no meat on the bones, nothing.
Wouldn't be able to guess that now. Holy crap!
As the actual, like I like to say the cosmetics of wrestling, like the look, how you present yourself. So yeah, that was like the biggest thing. That took me quite a while, and then now it's like I look back on pictures now, and it's like I never realized how small I truly was. Oh.
Hey, listen, you hang out with me, we go to Taco Bell, we'll get you nice and beefy, you know what I mean?
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, you might not be able to wrestle at like a very good competitive level, but at least you'll be able to move around and be a little more of a heavyweight type of competitor, But that's awesome. No, so my question to you, is when it comes to the creative side, your character development and everything that, Judas kind of touched upon, what comes with that? What is the actual step-by-step process for you in order to kind of build your story through your character into getting these now opportunities? Like you're saying, you know, you got a triple threat match coming up. So now how did you get from point A to point B, which is now point C, to this opportunity? How did you kind of develop that path for yourself?
As far as developing character, it's a lot in finding yourself.
Okay.
And that's that's a very simple question to ask, but once you really try to ask yourself that, it's more complex. It's a little bit deeper than that.
Right.
But it's finding yourself, and then it's finding that confidence. And
Okay.
once you do that, then the only person that's ever stopping you is the one that's in the mirror. So
Interesting.
that's
cool.
the opportunities that I've got. So what's led to the opportunity that I've got Saturday.
Yeah, it's gonna be very
Okay.
exciting.
So I see your nickname on there is the Human Highlight. So what exactly is your character? I mean, a heel, a face. Kind of describe it, I guess.
So the way I like to describe it is almost like a modern day showstopper. You know,
Okay.
not know the name when I walk in, but you're guaranteed to remember it by the time that I leave.
Okay. All right. Kind of like Dolph Ziggler, here to steal the whole damn show.
Something like
You know, I watched some clips of a ladder match that you were in.
oh man.
Oh man, yeah. What a match and what a performance you put on. And you know, I was studying some of your moves, and it looks like you use Seth Rollins' sling blade or a version of it.
Finn Balor, that's where I originally.
Finn Balor.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, same thing.
And
Yeah,
then
the sling blade, yeah.
the super kick is so nasty, my guy. So nasty.
Yeah, that's accuracy. That took years of development. I've used a super kick since I began wrestling.
Okay. All right. So what would you say to somebody that is kind of just up and coming, getting started? You know, I like me and a buddy of mine were supposed to go Thursday to check out a training session with CSW out of Chicago. What would you say to somebody that's just kind of getting their feet wet?
I would say commit. This is something that you want to do. This is something that you see yourself, you know, seeing, you know, taking them steps in life. It's gonna be one hell of a journey. There's gonna be a lot of ups and a lot of downs. You know, the highs are highs and the lows are lows. But in the end, it's all worth it. You know, yeah, that's commit. That's
Okay. Dylan?
I kind of want to go back to AW for a little bit, if you don't mind.
What?
You know, being a fan of the product myself and everything like that, I have a lot more questions about that. You know, since I know you from there a little bit better than your indie stuff and everything you've been doing. So, with joining AEW for the time that you were there, did they have a idea or a story outline for you during that dark elevation at the time to possibly progress into a Dynamite roster or even like something of now Rampage and Collision where we're at currently? Or was it more like this is just a spot for you to kind of get your name out there and almost like just a bigger type of indie scene in itself?
more or less just here's the spot to get you out there.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, still was, you know, blessed with some awesome matches, being able to be in there with Santana and Ortiz and
Yeah.
Private Party and Matt Hardy alone, like, you know, pretty you know.
Big names.
Yes, some big names out there. Yeah. Okay.
So, I guess this is more of a fan question I'm going to ask. Did you ever get to be next to Christian Cage or MGF?
No, Christian wasn't there yet. I don't-
Okay.
And MJF was, I don't ever know where he was. I've seen Cody, you know, and stuff like that, but I haven't.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Okay.
Did
So
any of them, go ahead.
go ahead, Dylan. Go ahead.
Okay. Did any of them pull you aside and kind of teach you anything, give you advice on anything? Was there any any type of conversations in the back between either yourself and the Heart and Matt, or yourself and Isaiah and Private Party and everything prior to the match or even after going forward, or?
More so after the match, and good compliments of being there when I needed to be, and being easy to work with and not having any issues like that. As far as before, Matt Hardy's a busy guy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And a lot of those guys are really, they got so much going on with their stories and things like that. They don't have that much time to talk. And if they had the chance that they would.
Right. That's awesome.
And what would you say is, do you have any, any pre-match rituals, anything you do before entering through the arena, prepping for the match or anything like that?
Push-ups, a lot of push-ups.
Okay.
No, a lot of, stretching, really a lot of push-ups, getting the blood flowing and going, and making sure that I pray to the man above, that we, thankful for being there and thankful for getting through another night.
Okay. All right. So, go ahead, Big Baby. Were you saying something?
Yeah. I looked up another event that you're going to be performing at, Rumble for a Reason.
Yeah, that'll it's Sunday in Niles, Michigan. I believe that's a benefit show.
Oh, wow. What's the benefit?
I believe it's for the kids there. They're giving back. It's it's one of those like food drives, I want to say.
That's cool.
It's honestly 10 minutes from my hometown in Buchanan, so it's pretty my family be able to be there and be able to help the kids out too. And
that's always a plus.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we do a lot of coverage for events for a small promotion out of it's out of like Bettendorf and stuff down here in Iowa. Would you ever consider wrestling for a place like HAW or something like that, just as like a promotional type thing, or?
My inbox is always open.
Okay.
Good answer.
Yeah, for sure. Because we'd love to see you actually in action, be able to check out one of your matches. Because you're a little ways away, but yeah, I mean the option to wrestle for promotions out of the Midwest would be an awesome opportunity for sure.
You said you live in Michigan, or?
Yeah. I'm from Buchanan, Michigan.
Okay.
Right. I'm basing in Indiana right now.
Oh, okay.
Born and raised in literally all of my life except for the last 2 years.
Gotcha.
Okay, so have you held any major championships yet in your career?
I've held a various amount of titles from different promotions. As far as like main titles, as far as like an MLW or AAW, not quite yet, but I'm very much on the hunt to want that AAW Heritage title.
Okay. Would you say you're more of you prefer to do like singles matches, or do you prefer tag team matches?
I used to tag. I used to be in a tag team with Theo Storm and Thieves of Greatness, and we tagged for 3 or so years, and I didn't mind tag team wrestling. It's fun, you can create matches with it, but I do enjoy singles wrestling a lot more. As as a guy, not exactly, not to sound like that, but not like sharing it with.
Yeah. No, of course. Everybody wants
I mean, your name is the Human Highlight, so you like the spotlight. That's good. For sure.
Are there any wrestlers on the indie circuit that you would love to step in the ring with?
Yeah, there's a lot. I'd love another match with Ren Jones. That dude's awesome. Ace Austin, I'd like to meet up with. Harry. Now you put me on the spot. There's a lot of good workers out there. There's a lot. Mance Warner. that I want to get in there with. I've watched him. Well, when I first came in, he was a whole different cat. Now guy that I definitely love to be in there and mix it up with. Josh C, front man, that dude. His athleticism's crazy. I think that we'd be able to create some magic in the ring.
Okay.
Yeah, I genuinely almost anybody. You know what I mean? Like I love wrestling.
Okay. All right. Would
So, go ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother.
No problem. You know, we don't know who's going to talk next. So, have you had any you said 7 to 8 years you've been wrestling? Have you ever had any times or moments where you're like, "Ooh, man, I can't believe that just happened," kind of like a botch moment, or you were like, "Oh crap, that just happened."
Yeah, I've had a few botched moments. There's a time I was probably roughly 2 years in and going for that was standing second rope in the corner, or on the second buckle in the corner, going to spring up to the top, and my foot slipped and it didn't go. Yeah, how did we get here?
Okay, big baby.
Are there any, do you want to work for WWE or would you rather be in AEW again?
I think if you ask anybody, they'd want to work for the WWE. I'm open to either one, but I would absolutely love to work for the WWE. You know, I would. That's been the company for the past ever. So, to be even in NXT right now and be, under that learning wing, Shawn Michaels and the center, I couldn't imagine the not that you could obtain there. So absolutely, I'd love to go to WWE.
And if you were able to have a chance to step into a WWE ring, would it be Raw or SmackDown? And is there a specific superstar like that comes to mind right away that you would love to be stepping in the ring with?
SmackDown. I was always a SmackDown guy. Right offhand, it'd probably either be Balor or Rollins. One of those two.
Okay. Yep. Two very good superstars, and anybody would love to have an opportunity to face them.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. Dylan?
I got nothing at the moment, unfortunately. But if you come back to me in a little bit, I might have something for you. I'm sorry. Kind of just like I said, I'm kind of just learning about you as we do this here, so that way I can kind of give you better questions.
Right. And have you had any injuries yet in your career that's kind of put you on the shelf for a bit?
I had a sprained meniscus earlier this year.
Ooh.
Took me about like 6 to 8 weeks. So that was it started bugging me like a year before that because I had landed on a move real hard, and wrestler motto, like if I can take it off, I will. And it came back up to in the butt a little bit, but it's all
okay. What's your so I know this is going to start a whole spiel here. What's your thoughts on the tribal chief Roman Reigns?
I like Roman Reigns. I loved what they've been doing with him. I've been loving the story. I think that this is obviously the best version of him that we've ever seen, and the fact that they've been able to play it on, he's head of the table. I don't know.
Yeah, our friend Dylan here and our friend Ben, man, they just don't like they call him Rachel Reigns.
Rachel Reigns.
Yeah. Not a fan of Roman. Haven't really
Dylan's over here saying you're no longer welcome in New York.
No. You could come. Absolutely. You just got to like a better person. That's all. That's all. No, but I mean, it makes sense. You're a fan of the company for a long time, so you've understood the growth and how it's evolved over the years. We grew up in that very aggressive era, ruthless aggression, and then attitude and everything. And as it's evolved, do you think that and this is kind of, I want to hear your opinion on the product itself, but do you think that the product of WWE has continuously evolved to be better, or where it is at currently, it needs that next step forward?
Honestly, right now, I feel that they're in the process of that.
Right.
That makes sense. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? With where they're at, especially with like Roman and stuff like that, we all know soon to come, Roman's about to be out for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
So they're developing that next phase. Not saying that Rollins obviously couldn't be that, but he's been carrying it with Raw and the heavyweight title. So I feel like that flux right now, especially with all the business, going with TKO and things like that. So I feel like they're just, it's like, oh man, how do you explain that? It's like when they go through like in basketball, they have that redeveloping season, when they have to draft new and things like that. I kind of feel like that's where we're at right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who do you think is going to be the one to dethrone Roman?
I think everybody wants to say that it's going to be Cody. Ideally, maybe, but it's where they're at in the story is a little confusing, but
very.
But maybe that's where they want us. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go and say Cody. I feel like they're gonna pay that off.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question, kind of pivoting off of the question earlier with the WWE's development and everything, with how you've, of course you worked for AEW and everything, but relating it more to the indie scene, have you seen in some way that same evolution of creative booking and decision making when it is time to kind of have that new graduating class of wrestlers take that next step forward? Has there ever been that period where you've seen that shift of figuring it out kind of come across your pathway?
Yeah, on a lower-ish local scene and like AAW, they develop talent like crazy. They had Mance's heavyweight champ for however long, and then here comes Jake, and then Davey Vega out of nowhere. Like it's continuous focusing on who's the next guy or who's going to help us lead. How can we develop this talent to help elevate? On a lower local scene, it's called GLWA. They do a great job with that as well, having two different products, having a YouTube show with greener talent and letting them work their way up. And as we, sending more experienced talent to go work with them, and when they're ready, they get to work on those main shows that they have. So yeah, I've seen it, and it's an awesome thing because to me, it's giving back.
Right. Have you now, with the seniority you've had and working for so long, been able to also help redirect that next step journey for a lot of these guys, besides in like a coaching aspect, but have that almost say so when it comes to bringing up, the newer, the greener talent to that now main roster that you've kind of now settled upon?
Yeah, I've and it's a weird feeling too because you're used to being that lower guy.
Right.
I have had that fortune. I also I train guys too as well in Coloma in Michigan. And with two of the main guys, you can look them up. They're like my pride and joy right now. Nate Cobain and Darren Fly, Twist and Flip. Those boys have come such a long way in literally a short time, 2 years, and these kids have already debuted on Black Label Pro. They just made a live debut. So I've had that. I've been able to give back in that sense, and to me, that's just one of the best things that you can do because regardless, anything can happen in wrestling. It can all get taken away, but to me, I feel like it's what you leave behind you. forward, that's what matters. So I've been very fortunate to have some great students and be in that position to help develop talent.
Cool. I like that. That sounds cool.
Okay. Yeah, and if you could, so let's say you were able to kind of go back in time, back to, the Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression, that kind of stuff. Would there be a superstar that specifically comes to your mind that you would love to face back at that time?
Other than the obvious Stone Cold and Rock, I would have liked to work with like Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho, Linko. I would love to have been like just how technically was like golly. Ken Shamrock would have been fun. I feel like that would have been type of match. Just, the different styles kind of clash in there. As crazy as this sounds, I would have loved to have been in the ring with Brock Lesnar then.
Hey, you still could do that.
Yeah,
you still could do that.
Never know, but I know that sounds crazy, but I feel like, a lot of people don't give that man enough credit, and he's one of the best that we've ever had.
That's what I've been saying.
I Flex City, but I would love to be able to have the.
I have his NGPW blanket. I have a huge one when he was in Japan, and it's hanging up on my wall right now, and I treasure the hell out of it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hell yeah.
Let's be real though, Isaiah. If you stepped in the ring with Brock Lesnar, you wouldn't be the same coming out of it.
Probably not. Oh, no man ever probably is, but live to tell the tale. That's the goal.
That's the biggest achievement for sure.
So, what's your thoughts on this most recent turn of Drew McIntyre turning heel again and I think joining the Judgment Day?
I think it needed to happen.
Okay.
I personally like Drew McIntyre better as a heel. I think like just his character, like his movements, like I personally think better as a heel. I feel like this is going to be an awesome mix with the Judgment Day too. So I'm for it.
Okay, all right. And so Survivor Series, there's a lot of rumors going around, obviously. Who do you foresee making a surprise return at Survivor Series? Could we see the Viper Randy Orton? Could we see CM Punk? What's your thoughts on that?
I'm going to lean more towards seeing Orton than CM Punk. Just, I don't know. You see those internet in the like that. So I'm leaning more towards Randy Orton than I am CM Punk. I don't know. Obviously, what that bridge is like with them right now. So, I foresee Randy returning to face off with Team Cody in the Survivor Series War Games match for sure. That's where I'm leaning.
So, yeah, for sure. So, do you think like when you enter a locker room for an event, do you think locker room morale affects your mindset heading into your match, or does that not have so much of an effect on you?
Oh man, I have been in some wild locker rooms. There's not too much that can really affect like as far as locker room like can affect that mindset unless someone really acting like real unprofessional or ignorant because everybody loves ignorance. But no, not really. It doesn't really affect too much.
Okay. So if you had to kind of point out one thing that's really expensive as far as wrestling, what would you say the most expensive thing with becoming a wrestler and doing the wrestling thing? What would you say is one of the most expensive things for that?
Driving.
Gas.
Driving. That's probably the most expensive thing. I'd tell you gear, but like you'll still spend more in gas than you will in gear throughout the year. So yeah, definitely.
So we had a question from one of our fans. Wrestling Bitch 29 said, Is the locker room really like Vegas? What happens in the locker room stays in the locker room.
Yes.
Yes, it is. Okay. All right. So, okay, Big
Surprise
Baby.
question of the night. We got the first one. Favorite Royal Rumble moment.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go when the Undertaker won
Okay.
and Shawn at the end. That's probably that and the AJ Styles match. That match was awesome. So 2, I guess.
Okay.
It's good picks.
Yes,
How about
absolutely.
you, Dylan?
I've seen a lot of Rumbles, so I couldn't tell you. I think the funniest one is probably the Batista Cena one.
Yeah.
Where they both fell out together and Vince McMahon blew both of his quads. I think that lives infamously in wrestling history, no matter if you like Vince or not. I think that one lives infamously. So I'll go with that one as a safe pick. But Triple H coming back and winning, I think that was definitely telling for what he was about to do going forward.
Absolutely.
After the Rumble. So, yeah, I'd say those two for sure for me. Because Batista and Cena is just a funny one. That's great.
One that really lives on in my head is when John Cena made his return that one year. I can't remember what year it was, but Triple H is in the ring. I think Randy Orton was in there. Batista was in there. And John Cena's music hits, and Triple H's face just told the whole story. Like, holy crap. And Cena comes out, and he's just like this, and then he looks up, and I'm like, oh, yeah. Like, the crowd just went wild. So that was definitely one of my favorites.
I was here in New York when they did the Rumble.
Yep.
My favorite moment, it was Edge 2020. I remember we were all sitting in the front room. Judas Black, my brother Sean, brother Jerry. We were all sitting there, and then we hear "You Think You Know Me," and it's been 10 years since we've heard that. And wow, man, we were all jumping up in the air, screaming, just what a moment.
I remember Sean. He's like, "What? Why are you guys all jumping and screaming?"
Like, it's Edge.
It's Edge, Sean. It's
He's
Edge.
Back. Now Adam Copeland in AEW. How do you feel about his run in AEW recently?
It's interesting. I'm just kind of letting it play out to see what happens. I wasn't really. I guess you could have expected it, but I wasn't expecting it.
Mm. I want to just touch upon AEW again. I know I kind of been hounding you about AEW, unfortunately. Sorry, but when it comes to the creative side of AEW, from an outsider looking in, besides just an insider yourself, do you feel that creative side has dropped since you've been there, in the sense of story development and trying to focus in on a direction for most of these pay-per-views that we see each year, and maybe that they're lacking something of a staff in that department to kind of take that burden off of whoever is kind of running that creative side?
That's tough to say. I have almost felt like it's slightly started to get better in storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to try not to bounce around as much and
right.
or set of what's going on. Because now I find it easier to pay attention with the MJF storyline, with what's going on with Christian. You know what I mean? Like, they're kind of slowing it down a little bit, as opposed to like, here's a new talent every week.
Right.
It's not just seeing, what's Tony's special announcement. Oh, what talent's coming in? They didn't give you that last time. So
right.
Like, it's gotten better.
Okay.
What would you say is a move that's a move that is pretty devastating on the body, that kind of wears the body down over time, that could have a major impact, long term on somebody?
Wrestling.
So
Wrestling.
I mean, is there
The
any
whole
move
thing.
that's like? Is there any move that's like any move that's kind of brutal? Just there's a good chance you could expect an injury if it's not done correctly.
German suplex.
Okay.
Definitely a German suplex.
Yeah.
I'm a big like protect the neck guy. You know what I mean? I want to be able to walk home to my kids. You know.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Are there any moves that you would like to add to your repertoire?
Since adding weight, no, I've been working on a new finish. I'm gonna keep that one in wraps, just but
you can tell us off air. Don't worry. You don't have to be. We don't have to be that secret about it over here. All right, come on now.
Just say it's none of your business.
Yeah, right.
I like moves that like spine busters and like Samoan drops, like that. Different. Not, I guess, power moves in a way.
Okay.
What kind of style would you consider your performance? Are you more of a technical submission based with an ability to do a lot of the human highlights that you call yourself, or do you try to stay in that featherweight, lightweight type of division where there is a lot more, he's coming at you at almost all angles?
I like to consider myself like a showman, if that makes sense. But of everything. So I stay with the more like striking kind of thing. I'm not too technical in that sound, but yeah, more striking, more grappling, I should say.
Okay.
Big baby.
I got the second surprise question of the night. Kind of more of a debate, I guess you should say. Who was better for wrestling? Who had the bigger impact, Hulk Hogan or John Cena?
Hulk Hogan. I mean, well, you have to look at it this way. If you don't have Hulk Hogan, you don't have John Cena. You don't. No matter how at it, if we don't have Hulk Hogan, we don't have John. If Hulkamania never runs wild, how do we even get to that next? You know what I'm saying? Like, is WWE still the same? Because Hulk Hogan made WWE a lot of money. A lot of money for them to have, the new generation era that led to the Attitude Era, which gave us Steve Austin, and how Austin, so I'm going to say Hulk Hogan. Not to say John Cena hasn't had that big of an impact, because, how has he not? But
in and out of the ring.
Yeah, exactly. So, if we don't have a Hogan, we don't have a Cena. So I'll say Hogan.
Okay. What do you think, Dylan?
Yeah, I mean, he hit it right on the head. I feel like it's if you look at it in the simplest way, Hulk Hogan, besides him, himself and Andre and a lot of the foundations of what professional wrestling was during the WWF era in the late 80s, early 90s, was grounded because of people like Hogan and Macho Man and Roddy Piper and, the big men, the big bad Bundy. And without any of them, without any of those gimmicks that were surfacing, especially people like Macho Man and the Hulk, you wouldn't get people like LA Knight. You wouldn't get people like Stone Cold. You wouldn't get people like The Rock being able to have that ability to try a gimmick and have it successfully work. And, what we've seen, how the company has evolved to now We had the Fruity Pebble era of John Cena at one point. Every month we were changing the colors, and now it's a Roman and LA Knight and the Yeah Movement and the Usos, and it's definitely Hulk Hogan. 100% is that foundation, and without people like him, there would be no WWE, there would be no WWF, and definitely not anywhere where we would be without any of the others as well.
Okay, so I have another wrestling question from Wrestling Bish 29. She kind of joined us a little late, but she's what is your background like? Where you wrestled for, and where was your favorite place to be?
Man, she is late. I answered this question.
Very late.
South Bend background through EHF. And what was the second part of the question?
Where's your favorite place to wrestle at? I guess favorite place to be.
AAW.
Okay.
That's like no other. I love wrestling. That's my favorite show every month.
Okay. Absolutely. All right, Big Baby, got any more surprise questions?
Just one. This kind of goes for everybody. Are we gonna see Sting versus Ric Flair in Sting's last match in 2024?
I pray not.
No. No.
Sting, I love Ric Flair. No.
Ric Flair needs to stay out of the ring before he kills himself.
I did read that Flair did sign a multi-year deal.
Yeah, it was more for the likeness. He has the energy drink that's now an AEW official energy drink, the Woo energy
the
drink.
Woo.
If we're willing to testify in a murder at Revolution or whatever Sting's last match is, then yeah, we'll definitely see it for sure. Otherwise, no. I pray that like Isaiah, that we never ever see him back in that ring again.
Respect. I love Ric Flair. He's like one of the greatest of all times.
Yeah, but that last match where he had the heart attack, I think that should have been it. So
stop pressing your luck, Rick.
Yeah.
So I got a surprise question. Isaiah, Dylan, anybody can answer. What's your favorite WrestleMania moment?
The kick out of the Hell in a Cell between Undertaker and Triple H.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Pedigree, and like that was
pedigree, super kick, cover, kick out.
like tired after that match from being up and down so much like that. That's probably my favorite because it made me, I got invested so much. I was like physically exhausted after hearing, booing so much. It was awesome.
Yeah. We knew Undertaker wasn't losing until he was ready to lose. That's for sure. I guess one of my favorite WrestleMania moments was kind of a shocking moment. It was when Undertaker lost to Brock Lesnar. Like that just took the whole world by storm. Nobody ever thought that would happen.
I told you all that night that was going to happen. I told you. I told you Brock was going to end the streak.
That was a sad, sad day. I did not.
Yes, it was.
I forget that WrestleMania happened, to be very frank.
We tried it. It didn't happen.
I pretend it didn't. I pretend that
Undertaker's still undefeated.
20, yeah, to me, he's still undefeated, so.
Oh, he's lost to
Roman,
Brock Lesnar and Roman now.
Yeah,
so
I pretend that he's undefeated in my eyes. I don't believe he's been defeated. It's the Undertaker.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, how do you beat something that's already dead? Like that's my question. Like, who creatively thought this was the smartest idea in the world when you had the greatest idea walking out every single night, being the dead man? Like, you're gonna kill him. Oh no, he's already dead. No, you're really gonna kill him this time, actually. Like, for good. Like, I would have vetoed that shit so hard in the writer's room in an instant. Like, there's no way.
So we've asked, other wrestlers and got their opinions regarding this. Would you say it's hard to have a marriage, a relationship, when being on the road so much?
It can be challenging, like any relationship. Like you're on the road, you don't know what's going on at home, you don't know who's, but that's anything. That's working a 9 to 5, you don't know what's going on at home, you don't know anything like that. Like, does it suck on certain weeks or whatever? Could it be 3-4 days gone? But I don't necessarily think of it as any harder than a normal relationship, but it certainly is challenging, that's for sure.
Okay. All right. Well, Big Baby, you got anything else?
We're down to that part of the show where we're going to do our honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions definitely go out to Isaiah Moore, finding out that he's a bigger star than I realized. That's great. You're actually the biggest star we've captured so far on this show, and we're glad that you were on here.
I'll take it.
Yeah, the longest running wrestler that we've had so far on this show. So, I'm glad you were able to come on tonight. We appreciate that you made time for us in your very busy schedule. I'm sure it is. Dylan?
Yeah, no, Isaiah definitely gets that award for sure. Really nice to finally meet the man that I watched on Dark and Evolution, finally, and everything. So that was awesome, for sure. Definitely a big celebrity in the house for you guys. Congratulations on that. You guys definitely deserve that type of win there. Yeah.
Big Baby?
Well, my honorable mention goes to the human highlight. Man, I watched hella reels today. Explosive offense. You got springboard, you got turnbuckle, we got super kicks, we got sling blades, we got everything everywhere. You're just everywhere, man. So impressive in the ring. I'm gonna be watching. I can't wait, to see you on AEW, maybe again, WWE one day. You definitely deserve it. So thank you for coming on the show, brother.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, and definitely hoping that you come to the Midwest at some point, and we can see you perform in the ring in front of us, catch it live, on Wrestling with Bros. But yeah, you're an amazing athlete, so keep it up, and we'd be glad to have you on. Honored to have you on again any other time. So
no, thank you guys for having me on. You guys are awesome to talk to. It's been nice getting to know all of you too. I'd be honored anytime. You guys just let me know. Like I said, the inbox is always open, so I'm always open for a chat.
Cool.
Awesome.
Well, you heard it, future part 2 with Isaiah Moore, the human highlight. But now we come to that part of the show where we say our goodbyes. This is Big Baby Ben.
Judas Black. Dylan.
Okay, Dylan. From last week at Wrestling Podcast.
All right, this has been another amazing episode of Wrestling with the Bros. Thank you again, Isaiah, and y'all have a good night.